Here she is, the one and only,
One and only.
arriving.
Yes. Introduce yourself, Victoria. You're muted.
Oh, there I am. Hi, everybody. Victoria Huggins Jule, also known as the Axiom. How's everybody?
Good, we're good.
Doing good.
She's back.
I was having trouble with my laptop for some reason. It wouldn't let me type in my password.
Oh.
I don't know what that's all about.
I was having a hard time too.
I don't know what's going on.
Okay, so is Keish with us? Keish,
Yeah.
do you want to do a quick intro?
What's up, everybody? My name's Keish.
Hey, Keith.
Now you're upside down, Victoria.
Why not? How come? Am I losing it?
Okay, now you're better.
Okay.
All right. So I feel like
Thanks,
most
Belle.
people are here.
Thanks, Bella.
Of course. So I feel like most people are here. Dominique, if you want to get started, if you want to introduce the theme.
Yep. So this month's theme is love languages. Pretty general, but obviously you don't have to stick to the theme. I've just been like thinking a lot recently about like how I give and receive love, and figured I'd make it a little bit of a prompt. You don't necessarily have to stick to it, but also I'm gonna put the sign up link in the chat. If you want to read and you didn't sign up yet, you can do it at, oh, thank you, Cosmo. Yeah, okay, so Nick, can you start us off, please?
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't have any writing sort of ready, but I was racking my brain for stuff that I've read about love, and I was thinking about not just person to person, but person to nature. And I was reminded of one of my favorite poems by William Wordsworth. Just a little context. So this poem is sort of about how you need to, when you're in nature, be in love with nature and sort of be with it in the present, in the moment. And I found it in this book. I lugged this thing up to the top of a mountain on a hike, flipped randomly to a page, and found this poem that said, "Close the book." So annoying, but it stuck with me, and so now every time it comes back in my head anytime I'm in like a nice moment out in nature. So I'm just gonna read it real quick. It's called Expostulation and Reply. Why, William, on that old gray stone, thus for the length of half a day? Why, William, sit you thus alone, and dream your time away? Where are your books, that light bequeathed to beings else forlorn and blind? Up, up, and drink the spirit breathed from dead men to their kind. You look round on your mother earth, as if she for no purpose bore you, as if you were her firstborn birth, and none had lived before you. One morning thus, by Esthwaite lake, when life was sweet, I knew not why, to me my good friend Matthew spake, and thus I made reply. The eye it cannot choose to see, we cannot bid the ear be still. Our bodies feel where'er they be, against or with our will. Nor less I deem that there are powers, which of themselves our minds impress, that we can feed this mind of ours, in a wise passiveness. Think you mid all this mighty sum of things forever speaking, that nothing of itself will come, but we must still be seeking? Then ask not wherefore here alone, conversing as I may, I sit upon this old gray stone and dream my time away.
Cool. That was cool.
Okay, so up next is Keish.
I'm not even gonna lie, I'm nervous. Dang.
It wasn't even mine.
Wait, what happened?
Oh, I was just saying, like, I didn't even write that. You got it.
Oh, no. All right, wait 1 second. Hopefully I go slow enough for everybody, but I wrote this as a rap, so it might not make sense as I talk it slow, but it was a cover by Jay-Z's song called Song Cry, and there it goes. I just want to feel your weather deep in layers like it's leather. Pressure thinking makes me wonder if I'm ever getting better. But it's just special when I go inside. You screw my feelings, but what's the difference when you broke inside? Mark my words, draw lines, cause I'm broke inside. So tired, misguided, left chained, I'm traumatized. And I can see it in your eyes that you just wanna hide. Song cards got people saying, can we curse or no? No, okay.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
I can't. I can't. It's I don't know.
Are you still there, Keish?
No, I was asking if I could do a different poem. I was asking if I could do a different poem.
Keisha, do you want to do a different poem, or are you all good? Oh, okay, that's fine. All right.
Next up is Janae. Or did I say that right? Sorry, I'm like.
Yeah, it's Janae. Hi. I've written a couple poems. They both kind of talk about flowers because flowers are cool or whatever. One of them doesn't have a title, and I wrote it a while ago and edited it recently. It was kind of about like going outside after a storm when all the trees had flowered and seeing all the petals just like littering the grounds, and like it was kind of pretty and it made me think of water. I don't know why, but that's part of the poem. So it doesn't have a title. Here we go. The aftermath of yesterday's storm bore rainbows and fallen blooms. Now ceaseless sands of fallen petals blanket the dirt, shining with dew. It's gentle, subtle, beautiful, peaceful. An image like this comes once in a springtime. It's not that special, but you missed it every time till today. There is often an opportunity for beauty after the torrent. You could meet me at the beachfront of flowered trees' zenith, observe the blurring of petals to grains of sand. Barefoot like at the beaches, but grounded in the dirt beneath. We don't sink in these sands or scald our feet in summer heat. No, don't deny the ways of the water. When you feel the moistness coat your toes, remember the rainfall. Remember the storm that brought this to us, asking yourself, are we the still life of this ephemera, or are we doomed to drift out of sight? Through these cycles of water, rainbows over flowers arrived, of winters yielding to springs. Can you love like flames and glaciers to the burning point of your bones, the glacial forming of ocean under rib, exhale of steam, and still sing how real the rain, or choose to walk away? And that's that one. And then this one is called Have You, question mark. It's a question like, have you? About roses. So here we go. Have you? You ever held on to a rose? Give it a try sometime, and as it withers, holding shape, consider looking at the light through the cracks in its leaves. They're almost cinematic, fake, like the living leaves of trees on your saddest nights, or when bitter winter storms unleash lightning in the snow, thunder like you'd never heard before over light research on hypothermia, cuddled up to panic and warm in the dark. We were lit by a screen, and the lightning was like the light that filled the slivers of dying between cracks and rose leaves. I always wonder if people like you have ever held on to a rose, if you've memories of lightning and interstices and keep them, if they sizzle their way up the nape of your neck like the cold, and if they lower your gaze like a bow. If memories like these humble you too, does the past and what's to come scare you sometimes? Are you afraid they won't believe it? And that's it. Ink.
How come we can't see everybody?
Cosmo, you're up next. And I think just some people have their video off.
Yeah, you guys don't have to have your videos on if you don't want to, but you're always welcome to. All right, so So yeah, no, I wrote this one in kind of a strange moment where I was kind of not, there's kind of a disparity between my and my boyfriend's love language. I kind of didn't, it's been an adjustment for me. He's not a very talkative person, and I'm, if you guys can't tell, a very wordsy person. So it's you know, while I communicate a lot with words, it's sometimes hard. So this is called by INFJ for INTJ. Sometimes the worst part is that you can't even fake the sympathy when you don't feel the empathy. I don't blame you. You found me like a car tire finds roadkill, and like the river finds a bridge that once stood over it. You shouldn't want to empathize with corroded steel and stone or a 3-week-old flattened carcass, but some of us don't have the choice. Someone used to be proud of that structure. Creatures depended on the face, now smothered into asphalt, and saying, okay, under your breath doesn't make the strings between me, those beams, and those bones any less taut. Supported by suspension that gives when I give, I forget to ask them to take some time to take some of the weight off of my chest. Forget to ask the car tires incoming if they would slow down or consider a different path. I cannot grasp the idea of saying no to that much hot rubber, the force of the earth pulling me, crushing me back to the core. Please pretend to fake a feigning facade of sympathy. Please hold up a mask of a mask of a mask of a face drawn from memory. Please back out of this so far that you've entered a dimension outside of me. Please forget the reality where reality is fatal and the only dream is fatality. I don't blame you. I don't blame. Do you hear me? I don't blame. Can you hear me? I will curdle beneath my own piss and blown out arteries before I think to expect pity from someone who swears only to love me. Expectations soil into blame when they're not exposed to sunlight properly, watered with patience, and given the nutrition of communication. I surrender to the way your love looks, the way it shuns me away by holding a mirror to my face, and the messages drawn into Pennsylvania charcoal and liquid smoke ought to speak to me for you. Burning where I can't see it, my darling, embers on your palms that fell from my throat, callousing your palms on a bowl for bread and wine, a broomstick for the bats that remember what my open wrists look like, although they've only seen the bandages. That's you. Sometimes the best part is that you can't even fake sympathy. Thank you.
That was cool. I like everything everybody's doing. I'm sorry. Great.
Thank you, guys. All right, up next.
Mella?
I was just deciding which one to read, but my love language has kind of been a bit of rage because I've just been screwed over so many times. So this might be a little angry. Forewarning. There's no title, but I'll just start. I'm not inspired by love anymore, just sex. I don't want to write about my heart, just my blood. I woke up this morning and it came dripping down my leg. I thought maybe I should cut it off. My sheets are looking too clean these days. I saw you in the street. I was buying wine with my mother. I know you saw me too. Or did you forget how I looked from the back? I thought to bash you with my Shiraz, but an alcoholic is never wasteful. You know how I am. I never wanted you to parent me. I wanted you to fuck me. Do you even remember how? Why am I so young? Yeah, I know your heart has no rhythm. Your heart has no rhythm. Who hurt you? I want to tell them good job, and then they'll tell me I'm pretty, and my words will be meaningless. I said, look at me when I'm speaking, but not like that. Do you still like my gap? Do you still like my flat nose? Did they get to you too? I liked when you fucked me hard, but I never wanted you to punish me. And you're not as good of a person as you think you are. You're still an artist who is too afraid to even make art. I know I'm not inspired by love, but at least I can say I'm inspired at all. And that was that. But I have another one that's pretty short that I was gonna read. That's like more, friendly. So this was, it's called First Date White Wine, Last Chance Tequila. So I will not write a love poem, oh no, oh no. I will not write of the left hand that walks lonely on the right side of the street. The pedestrians, they are too polite to remind her of that which she is missing, and a good woman like me will always be too careful to play messenger, sigh, sigh, for the left hand that only knows herself. Oops, that was that.
I don't know if everyone can see the chat, but up next is Jess.
Awesome. Okay. Can you hear me okay? My mic's kind of bad. Is it good? Okay. So I didn't really have time to prepare something for this, but I have a collection of little poems that I've written before. This one doesn't really have a title, but I thought it would be nice to read anyways. So here it is. I am waiting in the shallow depths of the ocean, allowing the push and pull of the tides drift me out as far as my physical body is allowed. The sounds of the water breaking bring my mental state out into the vast depths of the sea. It's like a song, that one song that plays, and you feel all of your thoughts and emotion come together at ease, as your emotions flood through you inexplicably, like the waves crashing up against the rigid rock at shore, just to be pulled back out again by the force of the moon. And in those moments, I am content. Happy to be able to put a word to my emotions as day by day I struggle to find peace in my place in the world. And that's it.
Awesome.
Okay, for the request of Lauren, I signed up, so before she has to leave. So mine's not fully done, but I'll just read what I have so far. Just trying to come up with something like a little on theme for today. But okay, let me just make it bigger. It might not even be coherent, but I'm just gonna go for it. The words spill out of your mouth and I rush to consume it all. Each syllable is like venom and I fall deeper into your ways. Wrap me up in silk, make me feel like I belong in your web of broken promises. Make me lose myself in you. I've always tried to seek safety in other people. I've always tried to find a home in the complexities of of another one's love. I look back and my only real happy memories are when I'm trapped in the deceptions of a toxic lover's ecstasy. You tell me, lay down, I think I love you. And I do, because your web that was spun so delicately feels like shelter. It feels like you wove it for me. I feel the vibrations you create when you shake it to try to instigate a further reaction from me your prey. And I think of it as your form of love language. The real alchemy is between us. Our souls are intertwined. Where do I end and you begin? I knew I had to get out. I asked myself, will you miss your lover? No, but I miss the lover in me who used to love so fearlessly. I knew I had to get out. I am young and I don't know what I want. I'm young and I don't want to walk around for the rest of my years that I have left as an empty shell of the woman that you scratched, shredded, and snatched. And that's like all I really got to, but.
That's my co-host. I just want to say, it's my co-host.
Next up is Izzy.
Okay, hi. I guess I just took a more literal approach to this. I kind of wrote like a mini essay reflection kind of thing. So yeah, here it goes. As a partner, my most toxic trait is that I love just like my mom. Now that may sound sweet, but it typically ends up with me becoming a caretaking, all-offering, ride-or-die girlfriend. On top of giving men all my all in the sense of adventurous experiences, I also assume the position of person who puts the band-aid on all wounds and taker of all shit. When I come home from college, my mom does my laundry. I know that sounds terrible, but she does. I always let her know I am fully capable of doing it myself, that I feel bad sitting idly as she folds each garment carefully in our living room. Yet, she does it all. Maybe it's because I'm an only child and she knows the woes of having multiple siblings. I will never know, but this undying expression of making your love's life easier is something that has been passed down onto me. Take it as you will, but for me, it seems to be the most fulfilling path to finding a love that will finally decide to stay with me. Maybe. In high school, I loved with all my heart as much as I could. My first real boyfriend, I dated for 2 years until he cheated on me, and I stayed through everything. Even after we broke up, after the heartbreak and the betrayal, I would still drive him to work and to therapy, as I loved him so dearly and knew his mother loved him with a stern and closed fist. It took me my own therapy and an overhaul of my own life to begin to think for myself again, and I am not sure if I completely ever healed from it. The next boyfriend, he was nowhere near as capable of the terrible things the prior had done to me. This one was sweet, kind, your typical babe kind of guy, but he cheated on me early into our relationship, which I swept under the rug as I had just gotten to college and was falling into the same friend group as him. On top of that, I truly believed I loved him and would take care of all of the minuscule adult things that he should have been doing him for himself. I did the laundry, I cleaned his room, I did the dishes, I tidied up everything he left behind from the whirlwind of energy that he was. And for me, I had someone to sleep with at night after doing paintings and crying for hours until 4 a.m. It was amazing for me, but it was also amazing to deflect and help someone else achieve their own happiness, their own bare minimum. It was just difficult. When I broke up with him, it was my shortest relationship. I felt as though when the summer came, I was able to take a step back and realize that I did not have to mother someone in order to make them stay. The cheating thing too finally caught up, and it left a sour taste in my mouth. After him, my life went into restart mode. I went back to my friends that I had prior to college starting, and I went back to the person that was there for me after my first breakup. He was my best friend, and when I was completely alone, he was whisking me up into a new life. I found comfort in the fact that there were new things to look forward to, a new emerging friend group, graduation, and entering college. My new friends senior year, they were just like family. Summers last, he became my partner in crime. We had no intentions of being romantic in the first place, but we were like kindred spirits, both the type of people to do things on a whim. Some days, we would wake up and call one another, announcing, "We're going to the beach today." And then we would go 10 minutes without any explanation to our parents and drive. This love language of mutual understanding, understandable communication, and the ability to find the expectation in life which led us to become partnered by the end of the summer was something that was very new to me. He kissed me. The week before I went to school, I slept at his house every night. It was love 2 years in the making, and we both agreed we had found what we were looking for. Love in your best friend. Of course, that fucking ended poorly. We were both depressed, but we were happy together, but really fucked up apart. When you find your twin flame, then have them ripped away by work, distance, and time, an unspoken rift is created. The love language becomes lost in translation. The small acts of kindness are sporadic. I think I'm done committing myself to others and giving every piece of my soul and energy to those who cannot do the same. Not that I ever asked them to in the first place, because that's kind of wrong, but I did ask for the bare minimum, the truth and respect. I need to learn a new language, maybe enroll in a French class. Jokes aside, these things I do for others are things I need to begin doing for myself. Honestly, I feel like a narcissistic piece of shit for doing anything that would benefit me. I have never committed to self-care, to cleaning my own room, to having a routine, to eating in the morning, to asking myself, did you drink water today? It all feels very weird and foreign. My boss recently said this to me. You are always just doing the best you can. That's all you can really do. Do the best. And she means that for me, not for anyone else. She wants me to do the best for me with what you have been given by the will of the ever-changing unknown. As I watch my mom bring the baskets of dirty clothing into my basement laundry room, I am reminded that I love in the same way as her. When I am away from home, I do my laundry with a weight on my shoulders. It's a burden because I have to do something for myself, and I don't love myself. But honestly, I think I'm going to start doing it out of love instead, at least for my own well-being and peace. I am stuck with myself for the rest of my life, so why not try to love myself? Even if it feels fake, why not try?
That was amazing.
Izzy, thank you for that. Okay, next is Kyle.
Oh man, how to follow that up? That was awesome. All right. You guys hear me okay? I wrote this piece yesterday. It doesn't have too much to do with love, but it's a kind of longer piece. It's like a conversation between two people. So it starts. Make it a story that comes back around to the beginning, I tell him. What do you call that? Reciprocal, he offers. No, like a wheel. The poem begins somewhere with a message. It drops you into its realm and eventually returns you to the point it wanted to make. Revolution, he says. Yes, what you're initially told becomes clear and something clearer in the end. Suddenly he asks, is that all language does? Takes you on a path to realization? Well, yes. All because something vague could have been said clearer to begin with? Well, no, I mean, the whole story is what matters. If you say something blatant, it's not always received with the desired effect. And what then? What do you mean? What comes after the desired effect? You say that the point is returned to, the completion of a circle. That is realization. And does it end there where it began? Well, yes, I believe that is a full thought. And when a thought is realized, it requires no further rotation. Well, it has no use beyond the reality of its message. Well, no, stories have many uses other than their meaning. We employ the messages we learn from them. We try to exemplify or allegorize them in our character, our actions, and our work. We implicate them in our conversations with other people. Hold on, you're losing me in the big picture here. Explain what you mean in half the words. I don't know where I started with that thought, to be honest. And let's return to where it began. You were saying that the story is more useful than the message itself. Yes, let's see. The story is the vessel for which the message is intended. The vessel. Yeah, the stories we read and that we tell each other are realized not only through their understanding, but by how that understanding is recirculated. You mean that the purpose of the story is not simply the revolutionary telling of its message, but in that the retelling itself naturalizes, or rather empowers, a greater understanding of that message. Yeah, I say, satisfied with the way he reiterated that thought. He pauses, and then what? And then there is no and then. You say that the story allows for a greater understanding of its message, but what is the purpose of its greater understanding? I think that answers itself, right? The purpose of its greater understanding is that it is greater understood. No, I mean, this question goes quite far beyond the application of just one story, doesn't it? Does it? I don't think I need to explain that once something is understood by many people, it influences their behavior, thoughts, and actions. It becomes adopted into their way of life, as we call it. And the original message remains clear. Well, not exactly. Why? Because when we make something a way of life, it may become less explicit in what we do or say to others. We simply resemble the message. But you said it was more useful to tell the story. Well, yeah, but I'm sorry, I'm starting to lose sense of the problem here. That's all right, he says. I never said there was a problem. I'm just curious if you know what you mean when you say that the story is a vessel of its message. Sure, I say, wondering if it's even worth the headache. Who even is this guy anyway? All I did was give him advice on writing a poem. He grins. Let me ask you this. What happens after an entire world has read one story and understands its message? Hypothetically, of course, a story is retold and recirculated enough times across every ocean and in every crevice of the earth where people hide, so that every single person in this world knows and comprehends its message. That would never happen. Explain. Well, I mean, not everyone agrees on the matter of a story. A message is an argument, in a way, or at least an opinion on something, but I can't think of any one stance that all the world's population would genuinely agree on. You mean because there's always another stance to take? I don't know. I like to think the majority of people in this world are good, and they would side with whatever is most reasonable a message. But I just can't imagine what such a story would look like. It would need to be perfect in a way, nothing that anyone can find any reason to disagree with. Yeah, I guess, but that would also mean the person who wrote it was of the soundest mind, an absolutely flawless rhetorician and artist. That sounds right. And so well known around the world. It sounds like we're talking about Holy Scripture here. I'm talking about the most well understood story of all time. I guess in either case, then my answer is that I just can't reckon with the thought of a message that everyone can agree on wholeheartedly. And in this case, the hypothesis cannot be in your mind because there is no story that all people understand the same. It takes me a moment. I think so, I say. So now I ask you again, what is the purpose of a story over its message? The way he says this irks me a moment. I tell him I don't necessarily think the story is more important than its message. Sometimes the message can be enough. You agreed with my words earlier when I rephrased yours that the story is more useful than the message itself. Yeah, well, I don't think I entirely meant that as a universal truth. I want to hear what you mean. I pause to collect my thoughts. I mean the message is the intention behind a story. But no, I interrupt him, revising the sentence. The message is the intention of or carried out by a story. The vessel is as important as the message. Okay, so where is the story going? Where does it take the message? To a reclarification of the meaning it proposed. In other words, to its emphasis. Yes, the emphasis. So you believe that the purpose of the story is to emphasize its message, and that means greater understanding. Yes, I do. So now we arrive at a quandary from before. What then is the purpose of its greater understanding in others? What is the goal meant by its emphasis? You're asking me why we do anything? Why we seek out knowledge and truth? Maybe, but not as broadly as you might think. Did you just finish your first Philosophy 101 course, or? He chuckles. I'm just trying to help you with this circle. What circle? I ask him. Well, the circle of the poet. You told me the message becomes clearer in the end. I get kind of nervous. This kid's going to keep me here all night if I don't break out of one of his meditations. I see you're looking at the door. I promise, only a few more questions. We're getting to something. Are we, I say? He continues. You say the story and the message are of equal importance to its emphasis, this sort of balance that yields greater understanding of the message, but we still haven't answered why that emphasis is necessary to the message to begin with. I guess so. You're asking me why story matters? I am. Well, as I said before, it makes for important realizations that point to better activity. To me, story is a way of shaping. I see, and where does this realization occur? In the mind. But at what point in the story? Its end? Or is it when the message is first introduced? I don't know, probably the end, because that's when it is truly understood. Realization is when something is understood as it was intended to be? Yes. But we've mentioned that it is unimaginable for everyone in the world to agree on what is understood. Yes. So then it is inconceivable for anything to be realized in the world. I stop. But that's not true, is it? We realize things all the time. Our way of life is defined by an infinite miasmatic influence of messages, the eternal milieu. Where are you going with this? Revolution, he says. What? What is the first question I gave you? I can't recollect it. I shake my head. I asked you about language, whether its sole purpose is to put these thoughts into orbit. When combined to tell a story, we achieve the full rotation of a thought, a complete understanding. That's right. And that leads us to want others to attain its full understanding as well, whether it takes the same vessel or not. Yes. But once that vessel has reached the most people it possibly can, the extent of those who would agree with its message, the most we can say is that some people understand it and others don't. I'm getting frustrated with his way of putting up walls. I tell him, that's missing the point of the story. What do you mean, he asks. It's not just that there's a limit to the amount of people who can understand something. Everyone has the potential to change. A story itself is supposed to be coercive. Ah, so then you really do believe in my hypothetical story. No, I say. I still don't think there exists one universal message. People are bound to their different experiences, different upbringings, different surroundings. People learn things in different ways in different circumstantial periods. The story is the emphasis to its message because that is the form it needs to take in order to change someone's mind about something. I'm sorry, this is very long, everyone. I'm almost done. So realization is not the end of the circle at all. Well, it is the precursor to change. I don't know. Stay with me, we're almost there. I still don't understand what you're trying to get me to. He takes a moment, then asks me, what is change? I take a moment to think. It feels like too large a question. I see it made this more difficult. Let me try again. When and where does change take place in the mind? We're talking about story as coercion here, as you've said. I see the connection. I tell him, change occurs in someone's mind upon realizing something they did not understand before. Is this true, he asks me. I think so, or at least it is what occurs shortly after the realization takes place. It's not always something immediate. Good, so we agree that someone's mind being changed is not directly tied to the end of the story being told or the message being delivered, but to the individual's ability to realize what they did not previously understand or imagine. Right, and I guess that realizing something isn't just like hitting a switch and boom, you're a better person. It's more like your understanding is shifted. It takes time and sometimes multiple rereadings of a story to fully grasp the message you're trying to realize. It can. This is really making me not want to read a story, by the way. How so? I mean, you're putting all of this in such a weird, unnecessary way. You make it sound like work. Well, then why do you read a story? Because I enjoy them. And I don't know, I guess I learn a thing or two, but it's not like I'm sitting down to do some grueling self-dissection. Sometimes I just want to get lost in the story, like jump into another world, another time in history, a different view of something I've never experienced that someone else created for me, created for you. Yeah, and when I'm there in their world, it's like I've become them, where I'm seeing through one of their characters, speaking their words, thinking their thoughts, sometimes even judging the bad decisions of the character I embody in the story. So when I look up from the page, it's like I've learned something new about myself without ever having left it. He looks at me, and what do we call that? I look past him. Change. We sit like window light dust. He clears his throat. Where I've been trying to get you, and where many of us refuse to go after the circle is complete. But it feels like I haven't learned anything, I tell him. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. That's for you to decide. It's not something that you'll find immediately. What are we even talking about here? I don't tell him I want to leave, but he watches me stand. How could you be asking me all of this now with everything going on? This doesn't even matter. What are you going to do next? He asks me. I'm going home, I say abruptly. I don't have time for this anymore. He nods. Then I'll see you again. I turn back to look at him quizzically. Good luck with your poem, I say, heading to the library exit. Behind me, I hear him say under his breath, it's done.
When are you teaching classes? I'd like to sit in on more, please.
I couldn't see you guys' reactions at all during that, so it's like I hope they're not bored and locked off.
Actually, that was my love language. I take it back. I take back everything. That's it. That was the theme entirely. But thank you so much, Kyle. It was amazing.
I never knew how philosophical you could be.
Yeah, I had like one philosophy course. It's fine.
Okay.
Well, thank you to the alumni fellow and guru of WR. Last but not least is Bree, but I'm gonna drop the link in the chat again. Feel free to just jump in, even if you've already read. If you have anything else, please do. Yeah, but Bree, take it away.
Will I get a chance to read this evening?
Of course, please do.
I'll wait till you come.
Yeah, sorry, I was like listening and eating at the same time, so it's like I didn't want you guys to watch me eat. So I'm just gonna read something off my phone. It's kind of old. 1 second. I wrote this in January, and it's called Things Left Unsaid in Between. I'm a few strings short from being hung up over everything I've let slip through my fingers, starting with me and ending with you. I think that's what death does to strings that intermingle and weave. Lives are so short. There's no telling when it'll be cut, and it's unfortunate that we leave so much unsaid. I tell you I loved you from the moment I met you. I don't know what it was, but I knew I wanted you around. Except I didn't know what to do with this new warmth in my life, because it was too good of a feeling to believe it could last, even just for a moment. As our paths diverge, I find myself wanting to tell you before it's too late for us to cross paths again. You are like the spring sun, bright and kind, good for growing, the best to heal. And I'm afraid I'll never see you again. And that's it.
Beautiful. Very pretty.
Okay, the one and only Victoria, please share.
Okay, I have two pieces I'd like to share, if that's okay. One is called that's terrible. I had the page. Where did it go? Where did it go? Oh, it's called I Knew I Was in Love. His eyes spoke to my spirit. My heart backflipped. My knees buckled. The part of me that makes love clapped its hands rapidly in excitement. His words were like butter. His hands strong and well manicured. His six-pack exposed him through his shirt. Confidence oozed through his voice. I just knew I was in love. Christ dwelled in his place, in his space. Praying was not foreign to him. He said, "Are you willing to get tested?" "No problem," I said. I knew I was in love. Then one day, before I could say I love you, a woman called my home. How did she get my phone number? She introduced herself and began pouring out her heart about this man who fit my man's description. He was married. Now I'm sure I'm not in love. The prince, the knight in shining armor, was a representative, the best I had ever met. I feel truly blessed that I did not let my heart jump onto my sleeves. Love wants me to be happy. However, the Lord doesn't want me to be wrongly captured. Now I know I was about to be in lust, not love. That's the end of that one. Okay. I don't think I read this last time. It's called Something Diabolical. It has to do with what's going on. I thought I had just a little bit more time, but it seems the politicians have something else on their mind, something diabolical for me and mine. Me and mine is all of you. You're included in this too. My prayer is that God doesn't let them have their way, or we can forget talking about what used to be, what woulda, coulda, shoulda been. Are you ready for your microchip, the COVID-19 microchip, the one that represents 666 on your skin? You can look, but you won't see. It will be the mark of the beast, a method that will be used to control you, see where you're going, see what you're thinking, know how you're living, know how you're spending, know what you're feeling, and know you inside out. I thought I had just a little bit more time, but it seems that these politicians have something else on their mind, something diabolical for me and mine. Me and mine is all of you. You're included in this something diabolical too. Yeah. Thank you.
Good job, Vicky.
Thank you.
So up next is Keish, and if anyone else wants to go again, or go for the first time, feel free to drop your name in the chat.
Okay, I think I'm ready. Okay. This is untitled like every other one of my poems, but here it goes. One or two steps in the mirror and in front of my tears with the looks of nightmares, and I fear I'm trapped in this glare, but I know it reflects what perhaps isn't there, so I scream. Have you ever felt this pain when you're trapped in this dream, but no one else is there? Golden days turn my daydreams to nightmares, and I tried to numb my pain, but my pain was coat with fear. So if I showed you all my heart and it was broken from the start, would you said you played a part? If you held me in your wounds when it was dark. Would you try to expose the fact that you was wounded from the start? So it hurts when I look you in the mirror, because I'm looking at my scars in my eyes if they was there, and I'm tired of opening up the smile. Yeah, that's it. But I feel like those. Sure, thank you. I was going to say is that I was going to perform a first one, but you know when you first write a poem and it's like you perform it for the first time, it's like you're so vulnerable that you might cry. So it's like that, and yeah, I ain't want to do that. And love is love, you know.
Thank you, Keish. Good job.
You're welcome.
Is anyone else down to go again? I see Devin's been volunteered as tribute, but only if you'd like, no pressure.
If no one else has anything, I have one poem that's kind of on brand, or on theme, I should say. I just got to find it real quick. But if anybody wants to hop in, please hop in.
Offie, do you have anything to read? Gotcha.
Okay.
I have a short one while Devin's looking for his. That's okay.
Absolutely. I'll be ready as soon as.
Okay. It's called Your Mother's Pearls. Your mother's pearls were a gracious gift from you. My memories served me well. I recall her wearing them on her wedding day. I now feel glamorous like Michelle Obama. I have the perfect turquoise dress with which to wear them. How do I say thank you? I loved her patience and her godly demeanor, the way she consoled and set examples. Though not perfect, none of us are, she was a perfect example of what a lady should strive to be. Refined intelligence with an invisible crown that exhibits her finery. I do remember your mother's pearls. Thank you.
Damn, I miss hearing you guys in a room all together.
I know. Why can't we do that?
Soon, hopefully.
Okay. I'm looking at this now, and I should have just kept my mouth shut. But you know what? Like he said, love is love. So I'll just read. I see now what your pillow sees as you lay here on my chest. Your little dimples when you smile in your sleep. I wish I knew what makes your eyelids dance. Are you wandering around with a moonlit face in cities you make when you dream? Seeing far more than what your pillow sees, lifetimes spent in minutes, infinite worlds, too many to visit. I wonder what you see when your eyes are asleep. Alone here, I'm angry, jealous that you're asleep and that this is what your pillow sees. But mostly I'm upset that I'm not there to wander with you in the cities you make when you dream.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything they want to share? I agree, Kyle.
Secretary of Love Department. Amazing. Whew.
Okay, well, give it 30, 20 seconds in case someone wants to volunteer. But regardless, thank you everyone for coming. It's always nice to hear everyone's work. We'll definitely have another one next month. So please all come back. We'll have our new president, vice president, and secretary of the Love Department. So can help guide.
Grassroots. Let's do it.
All right.
Everybody.
Take care, everybody.
You guys
I'm
take
all
care.
Good seeing everybody. Thank you for coming.
take care. Bye-bye.
Guys.
Yo, y'all, you killed it. See,
Devin,
you
I'm
were
crying
right.
in the club. I'm crying in the club.
Honestly, that was so sweet.
Yeah, see, you were worried